This story is about a village girl in Umuachi called Emma. Emma is a girl cursed and gifted by the river spirits who was cast aside as an outcast, bullied by her peers and neglected at home. Her quiet suffering conceals a power tied to the mighty Nyaba River. When injustice and cruelty push her to the edge, Emma's connection to the river awakens, transforming her into a force of justice. Guided by the wise priestess Mama Ike, Emma learns to master her supernatural abilities, fighting for the powerless and challenging corruption in a world that once shunned her. Enjoy.
In the quiet village of Umuachi, nestled by the banks of the mighty Nyaba River, a girl named Amma was born under a peculiar star. The village midwives whispered among themselves when they saw her piercing eyes and the faint birthmark that curved like waves across her arm. "She is Ogbanj," they murmured, a child touched by the spirits of the river. Amma's mother, Nena, knew her daughter was special. But life in Umuachi was unkind to those who were different. From an early age, Amma was treated with suspicion. Children called her names and refused to play with her, whispering that she brought misfortune. Even the adults, with their knowing glances, avoided her. At home, her stepfather was no better, often blaming her for every misfortune: a bad harvest, a broken pot, even the drought that plagued the village one year. Yet Amma remained quiet, enduring the taunts and punishments. What no one knew, not even her mother, was that Amma had a connection to the Nyaba River. When she was alone by the water's edge, she could hear the whispers of the river spirits. Sometimes, when she was hurt or angry, the river seemed to respond. Waves would ripple without wind, fish would leap in strange patterns, and the air would hum with unseen energy. Amma feared her power as much as she cherished it. At Umuachi Primary School, Amma's life was no better. A group of girls led by the chief's daughter, Ugochi, tormented her endlessly. Ugochi, tall and proud, took pleasure in mocking Amma's threadbare clothes and the fact that she always sat alone under the mango tree. One fateful afternoon, Ugochi and her friends cornered Amma on her way home. They pushed her to the ground, scattering her books and spilling the small tub of palm oil she was carrying for her mother. "See the witch," Ugochi sneered. "Why don't you call your river friends to save you?" Amma's heart pounded as tears blurred her vision. She clenched her fists, trying to suppress the rising tide of anger within her. But Ugochi was relentless. She grabbed Amma's necklace, a simple cowrie shell her late grandmother had given her, and ripped it off. That was the moment everything changed. The sky darkened, and a cold wind blew through the village, though it was the dry season. The Nyaba River, visible in the distance, seemed to rise unnaturally high. Ugochi and her friends froze as the ground beneath them trembled. Amma stood, her eyes glowing like the sun reflecting on water. "Leave me alone," she said, her voice layered with an otherworldly echo. Without warning, the river answered her call. A rush of water surged through the air, though no rain had fallen. The girls screamed as the water drenched them, pulling them to their knees. Ugochi dropped the necklace and fled, her friends close behind. The river receded as quickly as it had come, leaving Amma standing in the silence. When the story spread, the villagers were divided. Some called for Amma to be banished, claiming she was a child of the water spirit who would bring disaster. Others, like the old priestess Mama Ike, saw her for what she truly was, a child chosen by the river, a gift rather than a curse. "She has the power of the Nyaba," Mama Ike said during the village meeting. "If we guide her, she can protect us." But fear often drowns wisdom, and the villagers decided Amma was too dangerous. They demanded her stepfather send her away, but before they could act, the river itself rose that night, flooding the lower farms and washing away the path to the next village. Mama Ike took Amma into her care, offering her protection and guidance. The priestess taught her to commune with the river spirits and control her powers. Amma learned to calm the waters with a single word and summon fish to feed the hungry. Slowly, the villagers began to see her differently. Years later, during the harmattan season, a great drought struck Umuachi. The Nyaba River, once mighty, shrank to a mere trickle. Crops failed, and hunger gripped the village. The elders called upon Amma, now a young woman and a skilled waterbender, to save them. Amma stood at the river bank, her heart heavy. She could feel the river spirits were restless, angry at the greed and disrespect of the people who had polluted their waters. She knelt and placed her hands in the cool mud, singing a soft melody taught to her by Mama Ike. The river began to stir. Clouds gathered in the sky, and rain fell in torrents, filling the river and soaking the parched earth. The villagers cheered, but Amma raised her hand, silencing them. "The spirits have warned me," she said. "If you do not honor the river, this blessing will turn to a curse." From that day forward, the people of Umuachi treated the Nyaba River with reverence. They planted trees along its banks, held ceremonies in its honor, and taught their children to respect the spirits of the water. As for Amma, she became a revered figure in the village, no longer the bullied girl but the guardian of the Nyaba River. The same people who once shunned her now sought her wisdom and blessings. When injustice arose in the village, whether from greedy merchants exploiting the poor or corrupt elders oppressing the weak, Amma used her powers to defend the powerless. She brought food during famine, protected farmlands from flooding, and ensured the Nyaba River's bounty was shared fairly. Amma even stood against Ugochi's father, the chief, exposing his corruption and forcing him to relinquish stolen resources to the villagers. In time, Amma transformed from an outcast into a symbol of justice, feared by the wicked and loved by the downtrodden. With the river spirits as her allies, she became a protector of the weak and a force of balance, ensuring that no one in Umuachi would ever suffer the way she once did.